But this is really bad for Germany because I think they, with the medium template, were expecting a quick victory. And if Russia joins and Russia brings heavy tanks, they're just going to melt the German mediums.
Yeah. And we say that Germany has a great industrial lead right now. That can easily go to hell on a two-front war.
Absolutely. Because basically you're only able to use half of your industry. I think the main concern for the Third Internationale, though, is just the power of this naval blockade. Especially with the Union of Britain having so few convoys at the moment.
Yeah, that's
a worry.
That's really going to be scary. Because that's going to start affecting their air superiority as well. Maybe that was the theory. No, don't need to worry about fighters because once the Union of Britain runs out of fuel, they won't be able to fly their planes.
Although I am now looking at some of these battles, and I'm seeing 100% screening from the Union of Britain, so it looks like they're getting some of their act together.
It might have been a case of they just needed to focus on the planes for a little while to give the fuel, because that's the thing with the Union of Britain, because the Union of Britain doesn't get, unlike the British in base game, they don't get the Dominions. They don't have that easy access to fuel early, so they've got to be a bit more conservative with what they do. So they were probably going, okay, first few months, the fuel is going to the Air Force, and now that we're running out of convoys, we're flipping that to the Navy. And we've seen that the Germans aren't putting fighters in the air. It's like, well, we can run half our planes and now screen efficiently.
Yep. And it does look like the British screens are coming in. I'm kind of curious to know what their template is.
I think we've got Naval Controller Ireland as well here again, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the Irish in a minute. This looks like a new one. Oh, they're just using standard templates. What's that? Rivers. No sonar. But they are running anti-submarine depth charges. Oh no, they have level 1 sonar. So that's a pretty standard all-round ship. It's actually more expensive than you probably need it to be.
Well, it's what it looked like is they're running one or two of those ones with sonar, and then the rest of that cheaper design you clicked on a second ago.
Yep. Meanwhile, yeah, Tier 3 advanced submarines from the Irish. Currently not deployed? They are deployed. I just can't see where.
They're at port currently in
southern regions. So yeah, they're currently just sitting back, probably trying to conserve some of the fuel.
Yeah, I think they're waiting to strike, or they're probably waiting for the Entente to get into the war, and then for the Reclamation Fleet to be appearing off their shores, and they go, okay, we'll send these out. Get rid of your transports. Make as much of a manpower shock as possible with those.
Remember, the French mediums get a massive piercing bonus due to their Spiriton designers, so they are much better than you would expect.
National Spirits right here. Tank assembly line production cost down there. So Grand Army Rouge.
We're paused. So it's just the Grand Army Rouge and the tank assembly line, which is production cost reduction.
I think there's another one, but I don't think they've got it yet.
Tank attack, or division attack. Armor attack, defense, soft attack. Oh, there it is, piercing. Hard attack plus 15, piercing plus 15. Yeah, that is a pretty good one. And you got to bear in mind that even though this is called a heavy tank manufacturer, it affects all armor. This is not just heavy tanks.
That's just armor.
So yes, they will be more effective in situations like this, and we are unpaused again.
I'm worried about those French infantry divisions it's probably Eastern Normandy at this point. There goes Portugal. Oh, we're going to see Spanish reinforcements.
We're going to be taking a break in... When was this sent? 10 minutes ago. So in 20 minutes, we'll be taking a break.
At the hour.
Yeah, makes sense. And we actually have Italians trying to push out of Venice, but not particularly effectively. And then we also have a couple of Italian paratroopers dropping here, there, and everywhere. Not really sure what they're trying to... What's the goal here?
Break across the Maginot?
Yes. Rivers... No. Maginot's here. So they've attacked in 1. It's only a level 1 fort, though. And now they have to cross the river. But yes, Nancy is a French territory.
Yeah. Austrian
Meanwhile, there
tanks
is another potential break up here. The Germans have very, very nearly punched through. There are a couple of French medium tanks in reserve, so I don't think it's an immediate danger.
I think is what's happening now is the French player is just being stretched so far with all of these Reichspakt players. We've got Austrian tanks, we've got Bulgarian tanks, we've got German tanks, we've got, if you zoom out, I think we saw that Ukrainians were controlling some of the infantry here. It's just too much for one person to micro. We do see Italians now forming a rear guard here, backing up those lines slightly along the Paris line, trying to get that entrenchment a little bit, but still, it's looking less good here for the International.
And we got those Bulgarian heavies again. I'm guessing those are heavies. Let's take a look. No, I think they're mediums again. Yep, mediums. More mediums, which is weird because Bulgaria is chromium. Usually you do go heavies for them. But they seem to be basically the same template as the Germans. They probably just use them interchangeably between them. That's going to be using up a lot of tungsten, though. Where on earth are they getting that tungsten from?
I don't know, Mordred.
That's the wrong... Where's resources? I know it's one of these.
It's actually now in the extra map modes.
What? Why would you move that?
It was replaced with the resistance map mode, I believe.
Not on my game, it's not.
Oh.
Oh, I can you change these?
I can't remember.
Apparently you can. Tungsten, Germany, they have a tiny bit there. They must be importing it from someone. Tungsten, yes, Siam. Massive quantities from Siam. But as soon as CoPro goes to war with them, US is not going to be possible, Hyderabad's not going to be possible, Russia's not going to be possible, Iberia's not going to be possible. They're not going to have a source of tungsten.
Absolutely.
They basically have to take Portugal to do that.
This looks like a weak line now, though, for the French.
Disrupting the production lines of the suicide paratroopers goal. Well, I guess they've done that a little bit. I'd say that was a bit of a questionable throwing away of equipment.
I have to say, though, the French have done really well to hold back the German player here.
I mean, they've lost a bit of ground. Remember, they used to be around Dunkirk, and they're now on the Amiens line. So that's where they seem to be fighting, and the French don't really have a answer to the Bulgarian incursion.
Can we check losses again?
We can. We can see that these pop-ups got out of the way. Third International have lost 265,000 to the Reichspakt 311, so it's still pretty close.
It's getting closer, in fact.
But the International actually has, I think, more troops fielded, 3.8 million. Oh no, it's probably about the same, actually. Fielded 3.8. It's identical. They have identically... Oh! French counterattack going on. Pushing the Germans back really aggressively at the moment. The Germans, I think, pulled their tanks back. And the French briefly...
The French tanks there instantly pulled back. They saw the amount of infantry hiding there in the Low Countries flooding in. They were like, oh, nope, give me a moment, nope. We thought we'd check.
When I said advance, I meant stay here. Yes, that's what I meant.
Bonjour, we have come to check your meter. You do not have a meter? Okay.
Australations declared war on Egypt.
Oh, that's really interesting. So that's going to be a fabricated claim, I think. So that's going to be a fabricated claim so that the French and the Entente can sneak the Suez Canal. And therefore they can close the imports through for at least one end of the Mediterranean and drive both Reichspakt and Third International imports around Africa, where they become into more conflicted waters between America, Canada, and Brazil. That's a really, really lovely move there. I just hope they can do it in time.
And then we also have Russia, and now most recently Japan, going after Iran and Iraq. So stealing some of the Mediterranean oil. Again, another source of oil which I'm sure the Reichspakt wish they had control of. Otherwise, it doesn't look like there have been many moves. Naval engagement going on here. So these are Union of Britain submarines starting to be active, chasing down some of the German transport. And now that we know that Germany is importing a lot of tungsten from abroad, they need to be a bit careful about their own supply lines. Because we know that Germany has invested really heavily in their submarine production, but I wonder about their destroyers.
To snipe Iceland there before the Canadians can do it.
That does look like the thing they're doing, yes. They are at war. We do have a fleet moving up, which is probably an amphibious landing support fleet. Although it didn't have any capital ships, so no big guns. No, those are just submarines. Meanwhile, the Irish. Are you sailing yet? Yeah, they are sailing.
Oh, good.
They're gaining a little bit of experience. But missing out the early war, that's a moment we can get some real early experience very, very easily. Also, I am curious. What's your admiral like? It's actually one of the biggest factors. Spotter, concealment expert. Getting Seawolf. So yeah, you start with Seamus or Morais, I think.
Yes.
So you can get spotter and then concealment expert immediately, which is a pretty good move for the Irish Navy. Otherwise, it's actually really hard to get spotter. It's one of the really, really difficult traits. That and
Spotter's so good for destroyers as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it says that you get experience for spotting ships, but that's only if you spot them when you're fighting them.
Yeah.
And usually if you're a recon fleet, you don't want to be fighting them.
And you don't necessarily want to run a strike force with them because you want a different admiral on your strike force because you want different stats on those ships.
Yep.
Is that a naval invasion coming in from Germany?
It is. I saw that earlier, which is why I rapidly clicked away because I didn't want to give things away. That is indeed a naval invasion going on.
Spotted off the coast by the French, though. They do not know the bigger invasion going towards Cherbourg. Where is the British fleet? They want to be... Yeah, there's the Brits coming out with the fleet, I think. That's got to be subs picking them off. The subs there, we're gonna help. Is this being done by air, or have they got support there?
They have support, and the Germans don't have any escorts at all, so these guys are just getting shredded.
I'm just wondering how those invasions launched with no support. I'm saying for the German side, do they have air superiority over the Channel?
No. They have no planes, remember?
That's true. And how did they launch those invasions?
I'm guessing that the Germans just placed their entire fleet in the English Channel for a moment, launched it, and then pulled back
again. Landing in Brest. This is happening all over the French coast. This is coming in all across the French coast.
So we do have these tiny little units, and the French don't really have any units available. This would be the moment when you want to call in the Spanish and say, right, Spain, you are responsible.
Check the channel.
The channel. Yeah, I saw.
All right, thank you.
Is that the break-in for?
Yeah, I think so. Just double checking now. That was a very... Check the channel. You take over a second.
Yeah, that was a very sharp... I don't see anything other than the break. French tanks here responding to these naval invasions. Where is the British fleet? Where is the British fleet to stop this?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else.
Yeah, was there meant to be something that came through that didn't? We got Germans now beginning their offensive onto the Low Countries towards Paris. Reims has fallen to German medium tanks. Obviously, these naval invasions, while they haven't exactly succeeded right away, they have... I've currently lost Mordred. Give me 2 moments there to hide his random screen. Okay, yes. Whilst they had enough Okay, the Reims have been pushed back. It has drawn some of the French tanks away. We've got Ukrainian troops here landing in the breast pocket. In your breast pocket. And Lorient here is now slowly being pushed back. Italians coming over to help. This is just, again, it comes down to it's becoming too much for one person to micro. And finally the Italians coming to shore up these lines. These lines looking pretty strong here.
English channel. They meant watch the English channel. Oh, okay.
Oh, right, I see.
I thought they meant the Discord channel. I was like, what's in the Discord channel? I don't know.
What's happened? What have we lost? You need to turn your camera back on, Mordred, at some point.
Oh, for Pete's sake, yeah. Thank you.
No worries, I removed you from the screen before. There we go. We have you
Camera
back.
is on.
So, the Ukrainians have put, just because I don't know what you saw or what you heard, Ukrainians have put divisions in Brest. We've also had a landing here in Bordeaux, and it's drawing French medium tank divisions away from the front line, so the Germans have re-begun their assault on the main French front, and this could be worrisome for the French commune here. Now they're having to micro multiple sectors of their country.
And their allies still haven't really stepped in to do very much.
The Italians have come to shore up some of the defenses, but no one else really. So
Like, I kind of get Union of Britain's probably just very, very busy with the whole air thing, but, like, what's Spain doing?
Not in the faction.
Ah, that's a problem.
Yes. French Republic are in Alexandria right now.
Yeah.
But
Very, very good invasion there of the Egyptians.
Yep.
So we do have German tanks knocking the infantry attacks off.
Mhm.
And while the Germans are trying to push out, they haven't made any progress. And I think we are now in the break because we are paused.
Yes, I believe we are. Let's go to the midpoint chatting screen. Well, just our chatting screen.
My mouth is still full. You go ahead.
Yo, welcome back everybody to some more Kaiserreich Weekly Grand Final, the third competition. We are back in game. Sorry for the sharp cutback. We were taken by surprise when the game was starting as well. Mordred is Dorito filled right now, and the enjoyment and the excitement continues. So we were saying before the break that doom could be on the horizon here for the French now that they're having to split their focus on three fronts now as these naval invasions have landed. The Germans, the Reichspakt, able to sneak troops in past the British Navy, past the French Navy, and now we have Austrian divisions in Brest and German divisions in Bordeaux, drawing some of the tanks away, and yet more are coming in. We've got Ukrainians and Austrians coming in here. A lot of Ukrainian divisions actually coming in here. The Russians here finishing another one of their wars. This is Iran. This is a big get for them, because not only does this secure them more of the Middle Eastern oil, but this actually gives them a backdoor into Bulgaria.
And even if it turns out to be a defensive fight on that side, it's horrible ground to fight through. So the oil is a big gain. It also secures their Indian front, so it's just the one front rather than having to fight separately Russia and India. It's now just going to be one unified area to struggle in.
Yep. Yeah, and also
Okay.
this is opposed lines for people to come through. Like we're now connecting Russia, India, Siam, China. There's a direct ability to flow your troops through the alliance here, which makes it easier to funnel troops to the front and supply to the front.
And yes, my mouth is now no longer full with Doritos, so I can actually talk again. Hi everyone! Hope you had a good break.
Yeah.
Mitch was basically right. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was like,
I'm sorry, buddy. It was they unpaused. It's not my fault.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, how are you all doing, chat? Hope you're doing well.
So
I'm enjoying this so far. I think it's been a really interesting game, especially with the the constant back and forth between Germany and France. I really hope they have something to shore up the naval invasions. I mean, we do have those little tank divisions moving down. Japan is justifying against Germany. That's going to be the Russians joining in. Okay.
Yeah, that could be good, and I like that they're giving the task of that to Japan, because Japan, obviously the most removed from this, has to spend its political power far less than. Oh, I just realized, India took Iran.
Yes.
I like that.
So
I like
Azerbaijan and the Caucasus went to Russia, whereas Iran went to India. And India is really good at defending in mountainous, rocky, horrible terrain. And that's exactly what they'll be doing.
Yep. If it comes to that, I don't think they'll get pushed back that far.
No, but always good to have the opportunity. The only problem is that actually getting supply through there in the other direction is also a little bit more tricky. But they'll be able to build up the infrastructure if they need to.
Going back to the French, I think the Germans here are pulling out.
Looks that way.
These naval invasions, though, still might be landing here. Nope, those are going back. The Ukrainians are going back. Well done, France. That's going to help you a lot. Your lines are shorn up. The Germans
And
now...
so many troops moving over to the Russian border now. Just wholesale switching over.
Yeah, they cancelled that. They were like, right, this is it. We're going to have to go full defensive mode now. This is going to be an interesting one. This is the Entente grabbing essentially the rest of the Middle East. What I will say, though, this brings another border where actually the Entente, CoPro, and the Reichspakt are going to be meeting. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. I still love this move, though, grabbing Egypt here, stopping the what will be the flow of imports through the Suez Canal. That's a beautiful grab.
So far, the Entente are the only ones that haven't staked a claim against anyone. Who do you think they're going to go for first?
Honestly, it makes sense to do the International whenever you're playing the Entente, purely because of the cores you get. France gets cores on France, Britain gets cores on Britain, and Ireland, actually, the Dominion, Dominion with the reconquest, the reclamation, and that just unlocks so much manpower potential from you. Winks, you like the mark? Oh yeah, we've both got one of those. We can show that off.
It's just showing mine off there, yeah.
I was wondering why you're going that, and I checked the chat.
I mean, it's going to be in 2 minutes in the future now, but yeah, I saw that and I was like,
yes,
I got one too.
For those of you who are just joining us as well, we are running this on a delay to avoid stream sniping because this is a tournament final. Not that any of the teams would, it's just a precaution. But yes, while this Treaty of Aswan is going on, we should probably talk about the tournament sponsors. So this tournament is sponsored by both Kaiserreich Cinema and Flagmaker Print. I should know this. I'm friends with Vincent, the guy who runs both of those things. But,
Mitch.
I know. Kaiserreich Cinema are great. They're an independent creative director making content in the Kaiserreich universe, including songs, artwork, lore videos, documentaries, radio shows. Definitely check out the radio shows. They also have a store where you can get Kaiserreich specific merch, where you can pick up nice things such as this is their latest poster. I got my hands on it. It's really pretty. It's the Down with the Traitors, Up with the Stars poster. I put it in a nice gold frame. I love it. You can also pick up awesome things like hoodies, mugs, and I'm just showing off all my swag at this point. But the peace deal's over, so we'll go back to the war.
Yeah, and someone in chat was just talking about the Irish submarines were probably doing a real number on the German invasion, and yes, this was a combined effort between the Union of Britain's subs and also the Irish ones, and I suspect the Irish ones were probably even more effective just because they're such a high level.
Yeah, it took them time to react, though. It did take them a long time to react, and the Reichspakt were able to get more troops. Oh, there's an overrun there from French tanks.
I think that the Germans may have pulled back too much, because the French are now pushing really hard in the other way.
Hang on. There's a lot less troops here now. They're in Brussels. What is this? They've moved back
to the line.
They've gone back to the Ludendorff line, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that the Siegfried line? I can never remember.
Oh, we've got a very large German fleet, which is not fully screened.
Hang
facing
on.
off
Have they
against
just been
submarines.
kicked out of port there? I think they just might have been picked out again, out of Bruges, the port there. So, if they've been spotted by the submarine, is the British fleet on strike force? If so, this could be costly here for the Germans, and then they've been kicked out, of course. But they can see this combat, obviously. It's a good... Union of Britain, wake up! You've got a chance here. You've got a serious chance here to cause major...
The moment is actually their side that's losing.
Yeah, look at those destroyers. 236 German destroyers. 26...
These are just Welsh Creek light ships, though. These are tier 1 destroyers. Yes. They're the cheapest of the cheap. And if you have a decent strike force, then you will just burn your way through these. But they're now sitting here at 100% screening efficiency. They've lost the positioning advantage. And at this point, they should back out. The submarine should back out. Meanwhile, those French tanks are just rolling on, taking all the territory back again, and this is such a big deal for the Third International. Like, they weathered the storm, and then the Russians came to their aid, basically.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Chat was asking what my drink is again, and the moderator's rightly saying, the blood of my enemies. And chat, yes, I am aware about my head turning. I turn my head a lot because I love this microphone, but I'm thinking of starting to maybe move back to one of my old microphones where it's a bit more a surround pickup, because I turn my head to look at so many screens so often. But yes.
Oh, but I just noticed the Austrians actually took Venice, so we are now right up to the river against the Po Valley. We do have a couple of Austrian tanks sitting down here, watching the border carefully.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the naval raiding continues, and is the German submarines just hammering the Spanish. The Spanish have joined, finally.
Good.
And Spanish clearly doing absolutely nothing to protect their supply lines.
Well, it's because their supply line is now going through the unprotected path, and they probably haven't switched that over now that they've joined the war.
There are a lot of naval engagements going on.
It's a lot, yeah. We're looking at the Union of Britain right now. We're subs everywhere again now.
Yep. Good to see.
Is that... Hang on. Is that a push into...
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's up against the river.
Okay, I thought...
They're using the Rhine.
Good to know, though, that they're grabbing Alsace-Lorraine there, which France has cause on, which means they'll get the manpower from it.
I always forget just how far the Rhine goes. It goes all the way into Switzerland.
Yeah.
Big river.
Well, technically it comes from Switzerland, doesn't it?
Yes, you're right.
Because it
empties out into the ocean, not the other way around.
It flows uphill and ends. It is the only known river to flow upwards.
Well, it originates in the Netherlands, so, you know, if anyone could manage that.
Yes, the most impressive of the Dutch waterways. So impressive that the water reverses physics.
Water's just given up. It's like, the Dutch are here, fine, whatever.
No, it's done on a switch for the Dutch. So, oh, we need to send chocolate to Switzerland. Okay, so reverse the river. Just have the flow changes. Carry things.
We have an Austrian attack across the river, and I'm guessing that these units here are Marines. And if they are, that is exactly the same template I use for Marine. No, it's not. It's tanks.
No,
interesting.
It's tanks.
But the screen, there's 17 paratroopers trying desperately to resist this push right now. But it is green for the Austrians, and that's
bad. Those are tanks
bad.
called infantry divisions. I think with an axe as a template. I think it's to disguise what they are.
Are they trying to be sneaky?
I think
they're trying to be sneaky.